Do you remember when you were absolutely certain about a childhood memory, only to find out it never actually happened that way? Maybe a famous movie line, maybe a childhood brand logo. You swore you knew the absolute truth, but reality disagreed. That is the Mandela Effect. Millions of isolated people sharing the exact same false memory. Most scientists call it bad psychology. But what if it is something else entirely? What if your consciousness simply shifted from a reality where that memory was true into this one? Welcome to the iceberg of parallel universes. And today we explore the absolute limits of human reality. We are going to start with the familiar, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, because the further down we go, the more your fundamental understanding of existence will violently shatter. Level 1. The shallows. You make hundreds of microscopic choices every single day. Coffee or tea? Left or right? Speak up or stay silent? Most of us think of time as a straight line. Therefore, we assume the choices we didn't make just disappear into nothingness. But what if they don't? Force yourself to answer this. What if every single time you make a decision, the universe literally splits in half? You chose coffee. Therefore, an alternate version of you, living in a slightly different reality, chose tea. This is the many worlds interpretation. It is a comforting thought. Somewhere out there, a version of you achieved every single dream you ever gave up on. Somewhere, you are a billionaire. But comfort is a complete illusion, because if there is a universe for every good choice, therefore, there is a universe for every horrific choice. A reality where your absolute worst impulses took over. A reality where a simple, stupid mistake ended your life. But the craziest thing is, those aren't even the most disturbing parts of the theory. Level 2. The drop. Let us talk about quantum mechanics. You probably know the famous thought experiment, Schrodinger's cat. You put a cat in an isolated box with a radioactive mechanism that might kill it, or might not. Until you open the box, the cat is mathematically considered both alive and dead simultaneously. But how can a biological creature be alive and dead at the exact same time? Force yourself to guess the answer. How does the universe resolve this impossible paradox? It doesn't. When you open the box, you do not force the universe to decide. Instead, the universe forces you to split. The observer splits into two entirely distinct versions. One who sees a living cat, one who sees a dead cat. Therefore, the quantum world isn't just about tiny particles doing weird things in a lab. It is about a terrifying, non-stop duplication of your own consciousness. Every second of every single day, you are fragmenting into billions of different people. What I'm about to tell you might sound exaggerated, but physicists take this completely seriously. Hugh Everett proposed this in 1957. He believed the multiverse was completely real. Therefore, everything that can happen physically does happen. Level 3. The deep waters. We are leaving the safety of human choices behind entirely. We are moving into the vast cosmological multiverse. Imagine our universe, all the burning stars, all the spinning galaxies, the billions of light years of freezing, empty space. We think of it as everything. But what if our entire universe is just a single, tiny bubble floating in a massive, infinite ocean of boiling cosmic water? This is the bubble universe theory. It is born directly from cosmic inflation. Shortly after the Big Bang, space expanded at an impossible, violent rate. But it didn't stop everywhere at once. In some regions, it stopped and a stable bubble formed. That is our universe. Therefore, outside our bubble, the expansion is still happening, forever, spitting out infinite other bubbles into the dark. In these other universes, the basic laws of physics might not even be the same. Gravity might push massive objects apart. Light might possess heavy mass. Solid matter might not exist at all. Just endless voids of terrifying, chaotic energy. You could never survive there. If you somehow popped the edge of our cosmic bubble and stepped outside, you would instantly cease to exist as the fundamental physics holding your atoms together simply shut off. We are plunging deeper now. The water is getting very, very dark. Level 4, the abyss. Let us strip away the physical, tangible world completely. What if the multiverse isn't made of expanding bubbles or quantum splits? What if it is made entirely of math? Max Tegmark proposed the ultimate ensemble. The radical idea that mathematics is not just a human language we use to describe reality. Mathematics is reality. Therefore, every single mathematical structure that can exist must exist as a literal physical universe. If you can write an equation for it on a chalkboard, it has a physical form somewhere in the dark. A universe made of entirely abstract geometry. A universe where time flows backward. A universe with 11 spatial dimensions where geometry twists in ways that would drive a human brain completely insane within seconds. But here is the terrifying consequence of an infinite mathematical multiverse. If infinity is real, then exact copies of you must exist. Not just similar versions, exact copies. Because there are only so many ways you can arrange atoms in a finite space. Eventually, the biological pattern has to repeat itself. Therefore, somewhere out there, right now, another you is sitting in the exact same chair, watching the exact same video, thinking the exact same thoughts. But in the next 10 seconds, their ceiling collapses and violently kills them. Yours doesn't. Which brings us to level 5, the void. We have reached the bottom of the iceberg, the absolute darkest implication of parallel universes. Quantum immortality. Let us go back to Schrodinger's cat. But this time, you are the cat. You are sitting inside the dark box with a machine that has a 50-50 chance of killing you instantly. The machine triggers. What happens to your consciousness? In one universe, you die, but you cannot experience being dead. You cannot perceive your own non-existence. Therefore, your subjective consciousness can only follow the biological path where it survives. The machine clicks. You live. The universe splits again. The machine clicks. You live. You could do this a million times in a row. To an outside observer in a different universe, you died on the very first try. But to you, you survive every single time. Feels like a miracle. Feels like you are completely invincible. But think about the horrifying, inescapable reality of this. If your consciousness always survives, you cannot die, ever. You will outlive your friends. You will outlive your family. You will outlive the planet Earth. You will age. Your body will painfully fail. You will suffer horrific accidents, but the universe will contort itself in completely absurd, mathematically improbable ways to ensure your brain keeps functioning. You will be trapped forever in a decaying biological shell, floating through the cold, dead heat death of the universe, unable to escape. You might think this is just ridiculous science fiction, but mathematical probability states that right now, there is an impossibly old, endlessly suffering version of you in a parallel universe, begging for a release that mathematically can never come. So, look around you. Look at your room. Look at your hands. Is this the prime universe? Or is this just the one you happen to survive into today? Every time you narrowly avoided a horrific car crash, did you actually avoid it? Or did you die, and your consciousness simply woke up in the adjacent reality where you swerved just in time? We all desperately want to believe we are in control. We want to believe our choices matter. But in an infinite multiverse where absolutely everything happens, choice is completely meaningless. You are just riding a single, terrifying timeline, a hostage to infinite probability. And that is the true horror of the iceberg.